I think when we get a little too deep into the world of watches and watch collecting, it is easy for you to start thinking that you need a lot of watches. Or you can't imagine your life without at least 3 watches or 5 watches or whatever that number is. And then, when you begin to get really delusional, you start to justify as to why you need a professional grade dive watch, even though you know you've never been diving before. But that's the discussion for another time, and I've got that illness. But I think there is something to say for only having one nice watch. This is what a majority of my friends do, so they wear their Apple Watch every day, or a Garmin, or no watch at all. But they have one nice watch that they save for special occasions like going to a wedding or cocktails with friends. Today, I want to talk about the only watch someone could ever need. If you own just this one watch, it would be more than good enough and it would cover everything you needed it to cover. So I really wanted to start this video talking about Seiko because this is such a common entry point into luxury watches or mechanical watches. There's some sportier recommendations I'd have, like the Seiko 5 or the Seiko Alpinist. But if you wanted your one watch to be something a bit nicer, to be something you could wear every day but it still looks dressy and nice, you could do everything in it, I would recommend the Presage SRPB41. This has that classic look to it, elevated, dressy, but still something you could wear every day. The Presage costs £349 or about $400 US, give or take, which is quite expensive, but you are getting a lot of watch for that money. So a stainless steel case, 40.5mm case diameter, an automatic manual winding movement that gives you 40 hours of power reserve, and it has 50 meters of water resistance. A notable shout out for Seiko does have to be the Alpinist as well. This one is a lot more casual than the Presage, but still a great do-it-all watch and probably my favorite Seiko. I'm not sure what's happened to Tag in the last few decades. I think they might have just leaned a little bit too hard into the connected watch.
Which they never should have done.
And they kinda tarnished their good name a little bit. Growing up in the 90s and 2000s, Tag Heuer was such a revered brand, and it was a lot of people's nice watch or a milestone watch would be a Tag Heuer. But I think they are coming back around again and earning back their good name. The Carrera collection is a really good place to start to find that one and only watch. For something a bit more standard, I'd recommend the Carrera Date. Easy to wear, easy to style, 50 meters of water resistance. So you can go swimming in it, but I wouldn't go diving or do anything too strenuous in this. These are a really lovely wear. If I was you, I would ask for a cheeky discount in the shop. £2,800 isn't a horrible price, but you could definitely get that down. Save some money, take your partner out for a nice lunch. Now, if you want something with a bit more character from Tag, I'd still stay within the Carrera collection, but look into the Carrera chronograph. Absolutely timeless. Excellent case size at 39mm, so that's perfect for most wrist sizes, display case back. And still, this is a watch you could dress up for going to work or a wedding, or dress down with jeans and a t-shirt. Breitling Navitimer, Navitimer is the time. Another brand I associate with chronographs, Breitling, and if you could only own one nicer watch, this might be the best choice you could make with the Breitling Navitimer. Honestly, this is the Breitling to own, the icon of the brand, and once again blurs those lines of sporty and dressy. One thing I would recommend with these is try one on first. It's easy for Breitling sizes to sound huge, but with their lugs and the way it kind of wraps to the wrist, you will be surprised on how the sizes wear. But still, my personal recommend would be a Navitimer Chronograph 43. There's a few different color options, so there's an ice blue, or for something a bit more classic, there's the black or the silver. The chronographs are a bit more expensive, retailing at £7,500, but you can save some money going time only. Breitling is another brand where you should go, buy it in person, and ask for a cheeky discount. You will get one. I know it can feel a bit gross at first asking for money off. I've always felt gross about it, but they price these knowing they will give people discounts. It's a part of the buying experience for most brands to ask if there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. Ask them if they can do anything about that price. So don't be scared or feel cheap in asking. Okay, moving on to one of my all-time favorite watch brands, Tudor, and this is actually the watch that inspired this video. I was on the phone with my sister and she was telling me about how one of her friends just bought a Tudor Black Bay 39 SNG to be his one and only watch. And I thought it was such a solid choice. So the Black Bay fixed bezel comes in 31mm, 36, 39, and 41mm, which pretty much covers every wrist size. There will be something for you in there. My recommend would always be 36mm if you like more classic proportions, and 39mm for a more modern proportioned on the average wrist size. If it was me and my money, I'd be getting the stainless steel blue dial all day, every day. One standout thing with Tudor is most of their catalog is in-house movements, COSC certified, with 70 hours of power reserve, and to me, this just makes a top go anywhere, do anything watch. This is the only watch you could ever need. Moving on to Rolex. I know in the watch enthusiast space, we get so used to hearing so much about Rolex, and some of us even slagging off Rolex. But we get so out of touch and we forget these are exceptionally expensive and aspirational timepieces. Like, for so many people, this is the pinnacle of watchmaking. This is more money than they would have ever imagined spending on a watch. So before we talk about Rolex, let's just quickly screw our heads back on, stop being such freaking nutcases,
and come back down to earth.
Now, for a one and only watch, Rolex has to be one of the top brands out there. They are so reliable, their designs have stood the test of time, and they're just really aspirational. Certain Rolex models can be difficult to get depending on where you live. Availability seems to be coming back here in the UK and in Europe, but I think they're still so tricky to get across the pond and in Australia. So that's something to keep in mind. But my two recommendations to have only one Rolex watch would be either a Datejust or an Oyster Perpetual. Both are available in a lot of size options, but I'd say the Datejust is that little bit more classic, a little bit more traditional, the Rolex that pops into your head when you think about Rolex. Whereas the Oyster Perpetual is a bit more sporty, but you can still dress it up, dress it down, it just depends on your personal style. If it was me, I'd be getting the Datejust 36, all steel, Jubilee bracelet, fluted bezel, Wimbledon dial, but that's still pretty sporty. That's a little bit more my tastes. For something a bit more classic, I'd play around with two-tone, but always Jubilee, always fluted bezel with the Datejust. Something to say, with most brands, it's okay to ask for a cheeky discount, but do not do this at the Rolex counter. Watch buying etiquette is weird and dumb, I know, but this is one of the few brands. Do not do this. We aren't in this place quite yet, but I hope it does come back to the times where you could get discount off Rolex watches. I don't know if that time will ever come again. There was a time where you could, but it is not right now. Now, if you go to Rolex for sporty watches, you go to Cartier for dressy watches. Class on the wrist kind of watches. To own one watch and have it be from Cartier, in my humble opinion, it has to be the Santos. So for the dressy classic model, the Santos Dumont, or for something a bit sportier with slightly better specifications as well, the Santos de Cartier. Looking at the Santos de Cartier, you're getting a great design, that place between sporty and dressy, 100 meters of water resistance, an automatic in-house caliber movement, one of the most clever bracelets on the market, and just something that's a bit more different than the Oyster Perpetual or Tudor Black Bay kind of style. I threw the Santos Dumont in there as well because that's the Santos I ended up choosing. I had been obsessed with the Santos for a few years. I was finally in the place where I was going to pull the trigger. I was going to get the Santos de Cartier in medium when the AD encouraged me, just before I bought it, to try on the Santos Dumont. My loyalties changed real fast. The Santos Dumont makes less sense. It doesn't come on the bracelet. It has less water resistance, but it's just magic on the wrist. Okay, last brand we're going to talk about today, Omega, and it has to be the Aquaterra. This is the only watch you would ever need. Once again, it is sporty and robust with 150 meters of water resistance, available in a few different sizes, sporty design language, but it still has some of those design details that elevate it, like the polished center links. Really elegant wear, Beautiful watch. If you get the 41 millimeters, it has the upgraded 8900 caliber movement, whereas the smaller sizes have the caliber 8800, which is still great. It is the same movement that is in the Seamaster Diver 300. All in all, fantastic watch, and I'd love to see more of these on people's wrists. I'm not sure if we're at the point where we can ask for a cheeky discount at the Omega counter. If it was me, I would still ask if there's some wiggle room on the price. I wouldn't be surprised if there was or if there wasn't. I think Omega's at the point where it doesn't hurt to ask, but I wouldn't expect the discount. Anyways, guys, those are just some of my favorite watches, my favorite watch brands that would make a great only watch to own. I'd love to know in those comments down below, what do you think would be a great only watch to own? Has there been a time where you only owned one watch for a while? Let me know. I can't wait to read those comments. Do all that YouTube stuff, subscribe if you haven't already, and now, let's thank the gorgeous, fabulous, wonderful Pope tier patrons. Patrons, right now, I'll be on my maternity leave. And if you're a brand new patron, I'm so sorry if your name's not on here. I just scheduled this way far in advance to come out on this day. I'm very, very pregnant filming this. But yeah, I'll be on maternity leave for a couple months, and then we'll get your name on this end screen. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting my weird little channel. Patreon's keeping me in business as well as I'm taking some time off with family, with baby. So thank you so, so much, guys. Hopefully be back soon. Hopefully some fresh new content. And thank you. I really hope you keep enjoying my channel. Bye, guys.